From TPN at Technophilespodcast.com, I'm David Geisler, and this is the Technophiles Podcast.
So what they've done is developed this tiny little chip. It looks like a little bee backpack.
This Saturday, Tony finds a story about tiny trackers that could help solve the mystery of our current global bee shortage. After the break, Vee talks about Google's new filing for a patent that would track potholes on our roads. It's time for some bees to go backpacking because this is Technophile's 261st episode. Hey everybody, welcome to the show. I am here with the regular cast tonight, Miss Krista-Lee Malone, Mr. Tony Stiglich, and Miss Vee Laabs. Vee, how you doing?
Hot!
Vee is very confident tonight. Vee is very excited about her personal existence.
Hot.
It is hot in the studio tonight. I looked at the thermometer earlier. This is not a joke. The internal thermometer in our studio is 89 degrees right now in here, guys. We're gonna be very shiny, have shiny complexions.
It's balmy
for this YouTube video.
We all need like
Balmy
handkerchiefs
89.
to like blot the sweat off of our
I know,
faces.
seriously.
Well, you got the cat right next to you. Just kind of pick
Just
him
use
up.
the big cat.
Just mush my face into the cat.
She comes back up. There's like fur on her.
Yeah, I've got a full beard.
She looks like those like magnet beard toys when you're a little kid.
There you go.
That's so gross.
Oh my gosh.
Vee Laabs fantastic. Tony Stiglich, how you doing? How was your week?
Stressful, but I'm glad to be here.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Even though we don't have any air conditioning right now, I'm happy that you're here as well.
Aw.
It's true. It's true. This is like the last week I feel that we have hot weather we're in Milwaukee, Wisconsin right now, as we say from time to time. And we were starting to cool down there. It was even down in the 60s like a week or two ago. And now we just got one more bump here. We're up in the 90s. I feel like this is our last hurrah. And then it's going to be 2 weeks from now, we're going to be sledding. You know?
Yeah.
About that.
Some of the leaves are changing colors already, but this is our last little get-go. So, Krista-Lee, you got to be nice and comfortable in your dress over there.
I am. I love the heat. This is great. It could stay like this all year. I'd be happy.
Now, I got to confess, I kind of am in that direction, too. I'm kind of like, I like it when it's hot, even though it's a little bit much for tonight. But you've been well. You started your new job this week.
I did. Teaching at a different college than I have been at, so it's a little different. It's an all-girls school.
How's that going?
It's really good. Really good. I did not expect the lack of men to make a difference.
Sure.
That was very, very naive of me.
It's just a tone. I mean, it's just innocent tone that's different.
The tone is different. The conversation is different. There was a lot of like camaraderie. Everyone seemed to know each other already. In the class.
See, I don't know if maybe we should say this, but Vee actually coincidentally went to the school you're at.
I am
now.
an alum of that school, so
Right.
I know all too well about like what the weird like all women. It's not weird, but it's a different filter to academics.
Sure,
Yeah.
When it's
fair
all
enough.
women.
But
I think that's what it
I
is.
hear it's going well. I heard in the pre-show that you're enjoying it quite a bit.
Yeah, it's great. I'm really happy I took this job. I was nervous, but after that first class, I was like, oh, I'm fine. There's no
That's
need to
awesome.
be nervous. This is going to be great.
Oh yeah.
That's great. Well, guys, tonight we are going to be talking about two things. We have a story that Tony brought to us and a story that Vee brought to us, and both of them kind of have to deal with tracking the globe. And I'm very excited about this. So the first thing we're talking about tonight is tracking bees, Tony Stiglich.
Indeed.
Let's talk about that.
I know. We keep making the Arrested Development bees joke. So forgive us if we do that. Researchers in Australia, in this case specifically CSIRO, which, if I may personalize for a second, is a company that I had dealings with at my previous job.
Oh, wow.
Which was part of the reason why I picked this.
Oh.
Cool.
That is, it's sort of national science agency for Australia. Let me pull up what it stands for real quick. It's the Commonwealth Scientific and Industrial Research Organization.
Cool.
So, essentially, there have been a lot of news stories in the past many years, I think, a handful of years, about the dying bee population, especially these sudden mass deaths.
And I think there's like huge implications to if we lose bees, like what happens to the ecosystem and stuff, right?
Yeah, food.
Right.
All
Yeah.
food.
Which I like food.
What? Food
Yeah.
that's not meat.
Yeah. I mean, so much of pollination is done by honeybees still. I mean, do it the old-fashioned way. So,
Yeah.
essentially, if we lose bees, not only will we lose a lot of food, well, I guess the implication there is prices on food go through the roof.
Yeah. And not just at Whole Foods.
Right. Although, especially at home. It'll be bee-grown food will be the next thing.
Little bee farmers.
So, a lot of this has been attributed so far to, and I hope I'm pronouncing this right, the varroa mite, which is
I'd go with that.
essentially, just a small mite that will get into bee colonies and kill them en masse.
Is it like a termite or just...
Yeah, it's a little sort of white, squishy, gross thing.
Ooh, that
Yeah.
does look gross. It looks like somebody took a piece of chewed up gum and kind of like squished it into the shape of a weird grub.
I was thinking like a small piece of like lobster that had been chewed up.
That too. Maybe
Like if
soggy
you go to
popcorn.
Red Lobster or something. Okay.
Wait, is that white thing's not the mite?
So we're looking at it-
Isn't it the
Yes,
little
it
brown
is.
dot?
I think it's just the dot, guys. I gotta say.
What?
Oh, you're right.
I
I'm
think-
sorry.
so there was a teeny
You're
tiny little
right,
brown
you're
dot that I
right.
think
we're
is
getting all
feeding
illustrative here.
on bee larvae.
No, it looks like a tick.
It looks like a
Yeah.
little tick, but obviously it's so much smaller based
It's way
on.
less evocative, but yes.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that was a...
Sorry,
I think.
bees. Did we
No,
make fun
I
of
think
your
you're
larva?
100
So these
100%
mites,
right. I
they
totally
they get into these
misunderstood.
colonies. They're so much smaller than even a single bee that this
Yeah.
is just a pleasure dome for these mites. They
Yeah.
just go and eat and eat and eat, and it's it's the I don't even know what it is. I was thinking I was trying to think of that all gold city in the jungle.
El Dorado.
El Dorado.
Oh, yeah, El Dorado.
Yeah, I'd say it's like El
Sure.
Dorado.
I think that's on Netflix now.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
So, anyway.
But yes, we can imagine this is a serious thing, an
Yeah,
infestation, if you will.
So where I was getting with that is these mites have been a real problem in the U.S. and most recently, if I heard this correctly, in New Zealand, but they have not yet made it to Australia. So they're hoping to study the other factors that might be contributing this and using that as sort of the baseline group, I guess.
Not quite a control, but almost. But
Yeah. Yeah.
Like what the initial beginning of it all is, right?
Right, whether or not it's pollution or certain pesticides or what exactly is going on.
All right.
So what they've done is develop this tiny little chip.
And truly tiny.
Truly,
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I would guess not much bigger than the mites, if I may.
Yeah.
It's they said 5.4 milligrams. It looks like a little bee backpack.
It really does. There was a
pretty
company
huge.
putting things on bees' backs, maybe almost 10 years ago, and unfortunately, those things they were gluing them onto bees' backs, and they were like the size of the bee, and
sure.
some people had serious problems with that. And I
Yeah.
kind of can understand that. You
Yeah,
know
I
what I
feel
mean?
bad
It's like
for
really
bees.
debilitating.
Yeah.
I would say
So-
that this is highly not invasive.
This is a
It's
third
highly-
of the weight that bees can carry.
Yeah. Right,
So
right.
Okay.
it's
All
about
right.
actually what a backpack sort of.
Should-
It's within that
Proportionally,
range.
it should
Right.
weigh that.
So it can still go out and collect
This thing
pollen.
is, I want to be very clear about this. I'd say it's a third of the size of a bee's head. I'm not joking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's very small.
Yep.
Yeah.
It looks like a little bee mortar board, but on its back. Just graduated from bee college.
So they glue these onto millions of bees?
Not as many as that.
I imagine it's pretty difficult to attach these to the bees.
I did read it's something like 400, if
All
I
right.
remember
That's-
Glued to the backs
correctly.
of 10,000 healthy honeybees.
But it's
Oh.
in
Oh,
400,
I see.
right?
Yep.
Yes. Yeah, I'm sorry. So individual bees, yes, but as far as colonies and things, I'm not sure. I might be wrong on that. So let's go with 10,000
All right.
different bees.
Wow.
Yeah, so the idea there is to sort of hopefully figure out, like I said, what we can and can't use and sort of stave off this, if I may, global crisis.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, so sorry. So these things are kind of interesting. I was wondering, like, okay, how is it powered? Like, where's the energy source here? Which is actually sort of run through vibration, which I thought was a kind of a
that's what they
creative
do.
solution.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's just from the natural day-to-day activities of the bee.
Oh my gosh. So
And
it's
then
like a
There's
little...
other chips that do that. And they must have just figured out a way to make it really,
like
really
a,
small.
Like
Yeah.
a teeny tiny generator pedometer.
And essentially, they put like a little credit card size reader inside the colony hive
Bee house.
house.
Bee house.
It's a
hive,
beehive.
right?
Yeah,
It's a
it's a
hive.
hive.
It's a hive.
We're just being silly.
Oh God!
Sorry.
In the bee house. Hey guys, did you guys notice that new door is like really big? Is anybody else?
Oh yeah, that's a bee house.
Just each backpack.
Yeah, and that'll track not only what it comes into contact with, but how long it stays out, how long it, how many times a day, how far it travels, all kinds of things like that. And bees are very sort of set, scheduled type creatures. They've very specific routines. There shouldn't be a lot of fluctuation in that. So if you notice any fluctuation in the numbers, you can kind of see like, oh, there's some sort of stressor on this colony, and then kind of figure out from there.
Try to figure out what the source of it is.
Yeah, maybe you can say like, okay, here's where all this craziness went down. Like, all of a sudden they're staying out twice as long.
Because
So what else did they come in contact with at that time?
That's causing them to
that
do
sort
that.
of thing.
And on a global perspective, Australia is about as closed as you can get from
Yeah.
like an ecosystem situation.
Exactly.
They have very strict regulations on what bees can and cannot come into the country.
Oh, wow.
Wait, who's taking bees on planes?
I wondered that,
Man,
too.
you could imagine bee farms and different exporting. I mean,
But-
honestly, I think that's totally conceivable.
I guess.
Yeah, so these are all domesticated bees. They're saying they want to study this, especially because the vast majority of the bees that are still responsible for pollination, I don't know if it's specifically in Australia or worldwide, are feral bees.
Right.
So,
Real wild guys.
right. So they're hoping to sort of test these controlled groups to kind of extrapolate that. But yeah, I was a little surprised. I didn't know how much importing and exporting of domesticated bees there were.
If it's that important to, I've said ecosystem a lot in this episode, but if it's that important to our ecosystem, if it's that much of a food source, you got to imagine it's that important for trade.
Oh, absolutely.
Well,
You know?
I mean, how much would our food system be cut down? I mean, is there anything we eat that doesn't rely on pollination? Well, I mean, I guess grasses.
I mean, you can
but-
get Circle of Life about it and say that even the meaty, the animals and stuff are affected, all of it.
It says honeybees are essential for the pollination of about 1/3 of the food we eat, including
Pollination of
fruit,
1/3.
vegetables, oils, seeds, and nuts.
Yeah, that
So-
sounds like a whole lot of stuff I don't want to give up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like you said, that's far-reaching implications for even people who are like, well, I don't like to eat that stuff. I like meat.
Yeah.
Which is
Oh, so
fine,
meat. Well,
but
but-
the
what
Somebody
does your
meat
meat
eats
eat?
that,
They
or
like-
it's the
Right.
plants that use
it's
that.
your
or-
food's
Right.
food.
Yes, absolutely.
However, I don't want to be a buzzkill here.
Oh, boy.
But I did hear a story on Radio Lab about I think it was like an orange farm in like Beijing or something that tried to like pollinate their entire crop by hand.
I've heard of this.
Men with paintbrushes going from one flower
Sure.
to another, and it went extremely well.
I'm sure it did. Also, probably extremely expensive.
yeah.
I'm speculating.
And
Yeah.
or somebody's not getting paid a livable wage to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, in
Yeah.
China, they have over 1 billion people.
Mm-hmm.
China can do that.
Yeah.
Like, there would be a
Robot
lot
bees.
more difficult, I
We just
think,
need robot
here.
bees. That's all we need.
Oh yeah.
Maybe
that's
robot
it.
bees.
We'll get
That's
Jerry
so
Seinfeld
cute.
in here. We'll have him start making them.
Robo-bees?
College students
Oh my
over the
God,
summer.
did you just
I-
reference Bee Movie?
I immediately went
Oh
to
my
the
God.
Richie Rich movie starring
that's
Macaulay
right.
Culkin,
Oh.
where they have an actual
That the
Robo-bee.
Iron Wolf was the roller coaster in that movie. The Iron Wolf
Yes,
from Six Flags
that's
Great America.
correct.
The now deceased Iron Wolf as of
Yes.
this season.
What?
It's gone now. Iron Wolf's gone now. It got replaced by something called the Maverick or something like that. It's a wooden coaster there now.
No.
Iron Wolf is gone. R.I.P.
I liked
Richie
it.
Rich had it.
Yes.
Never went.
You got a little
to
Ace
Six
Ventura going on here.
Flags. Oh,
V,
I do?
gotta say.
Oh,
There we go.
yeah.
So
I blame
we
the
should get
weather.
going to break, but any closing comments, Tony?
Good luck to CSIRO.
Mm-hmm.
This is something I have a lot of actual sort of beekeepers on one side of my family.
Yes.
So this is something that sort of I don't want to say is near and dear, but certainly affects everybody.
There is there's a bee colony, beekeepers on the roof of a bar that's just down the street from our studio right here.
There you go.
I had
A bar
no
that we
idea.
will potentially record some shows in someday.
Yeah.
Hey.
Good things to know that I can like run to your family if a crisis and be like,
There
you
you
have
go.
bees.
Yeah.
Tell me. Tell me all about it. Is this a good rate? Is this a bad rate? Well, tell me.
This is a really specific sort of post-apocalyptic young adult fiction story. The world after where like bees are currency.
Yeah, the bees are the currency.
We'll get there eventually. We cycle
God.
through
I think that's where the
vampires and
robot bees come
werewolves
in.
and things like that. We're
Yeah.
gonna get to
Just
bees. one of
passing
these
each other
days,
jars
so-
of bees in
Yeah.
exchange for goods.
There you go.
Ooh.
That's good. Let's go to break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about tracking potholes, Vee Laabs.
Hey.
I'm for it.
Yeah.
See you guys in a bit. Hey everybody, David Geisler, host of the Technophiles podcast here, and I am here with Krista-Lee, also from the podcast, and we're just about to record an episode, but before we do, I wanted to take a second and let our listeners know about some amazing things that we're doing with UWM. Krista-Lee, what the heck is happening?
We are going to do 3 live shows with the Digital Humanities Lab, which is in the UWM library.
Yes. It's going to be awesome. So the first one's coming up in September. I think it's September 23rd, if I remember correctly.
Right.
And who's our guest for that show?
That is Jake Gill, who is the director of Skritter, which is a Chinese and Japanese language learning app.
It's completely free. Anybody can come and sit in the audience, participate in the show. We're even going to add an extra section to our show where people can ask questions. We'll have a microphone out in the audience and people can contribute and talk about whatever we want to talk about. We'll be there. You'll be there. We're going to be talking about technology, and it's all going to be shot live.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to have to do spirit fingers the whole time, I think. The
Maybe
whole
not,
time.
maybe not.
Maybe I'll just do it.
You can do it.
So, tell us. But it'll be great. It'll be fun. So we just want to tell you about that real quick. Now we're going to go record episode 261.
Yeah.
All right?
See you there.
All right, we are back from the break here, and let's just jump right into it. Let's just jump right into that old pothole.
Hello. Yeah.
I tried to make a bad joke, and it was just a
that
nothing,
was
Tony. It was
certainly
nothing.
something that was said by you.
Was said. Vee Laabs, Google wants to help us avoid potholes. Tell me all about it.
Yes. So this is a new patent that Google has applied for. It hasn't been established or applied to Google Maps or anything yet, but they have the wise idea to, when they are tracking roads and things like that, to detect where major potholes. I almost said plot holes.
So wait a second.
I'm going to do that many times.
Yeah, I know, me
Potholes.
too. Where many potholes are.
Whoa, guys, this just doesn't add up. Why is he driving to the grocery store?
Yeah. There's a big hole here. Drive right through it.
Don't worry, guys. He was picking up red herring from the grocery
Ah!
store. Sorry. That was my forced
You
joke.
saved
today.
it. But you
All right.
saved it.
You know, it was a big.
If that was
Did
saving
I?
it, where were we? All right.
That was quite the swerve.
I cannot wait. I have some guesses, Vee Laabs, as to how they do this, and I cannot wait to hear about how this happens.
Well, we were just going over the patent for this, and it's interesting how broad it is. I guess I've never really gone over patents, and even Google patents that they've applied for. There's a lot of text there, but their diagrams are hilariously broad, where it's like a picture of a car with lightning bolts leading to satellites and then leading to a computer that says network. Yeah.
That's
Okay.
figure one on the
That's
patent.
figure one, yeah.
Figure
But
one.
I guess you got to start large, but it goes from seat to seat of the car and breaks it down. And basically, they're saying, with some sort of system, we are going to detect a pothole and then record it,
Well,
and then
maybe-
apply it to our Google Maps
I
system.
would speculate that they're doing this by literally feeling it from the phone. When the phone's in the car, it can take an average of the normal bumps, and when it feels a big bump, it's like whoop. And if it happens there 100 times in
Yeah.
an afternoon or something, I think they could probably get some real data from that.
And I think there's going to be some sort of reporting system. Boston already has a program like this in set into their, I don't know what the word is.
Like a social, like people
Yeah.
say, "Oh, I just hit a pothole."
It's like a pothole
It's like
tracker.
Waze, kind of.
Yes, I don't know. anything about that.
Waze is an app that it's sort of crowdsourced information. Like, hey, there's a police officer here.
Yeah.
And you can put that
Oh.
in, and then it
the
lets
GPS app
everybody
that
know.
I used to drive. has a
Yes,
crowdsourced
I
police
remember you
thing.
telling me all
Yeah.
about that. Yeah.
Which is, I'd say it's 70% accurate.
Okay.
Because maybe it's just because we live maybe in a higher populated area, more people using that app. But it's definitely helpful. Anyway,
And I think the application of this is going to be really interesting. The Forbes article goes very in depth about it, how it can affect traffic patterns and the health of people's cars, and on a huge scale, because you go over a pothole that's really bad, it'll mess up your car, you get in an accident, you cause traffic, you cause a jam, you have to wait for the police to come and somebody to tow your car. It's a big problem. But, knowing that there's a pothole there on the way on to work or wherever you're going, you can avoid it. You can prevent that traffic on such a large scale. It's kind of
maybe eventually
weird to think about.
Like these Google cars can just kind of like pick. I wonder if they could even figure out what lane. That's pretty tricky, though.
I suppose they could. They would have to go over like all of the streets that they've already gone over with the Google Maps car, taking pictures.
I don't want to
street
derail
view.
us here. I'm just saying.
No. I mean,
for a second
like
I was like,
that.
that'd be really cool because once the automatic Google cars, which just got released, was it Boston or Houston? Where did they? The official driverless Google cars, like just this week, got put out there. Man, I don't know. I'll follow up on it. Maybe we'll talk about it next week.
I think I heard about that too.
They're trying it out in one city, and it's not Boston, but I think it starts with a B, and I'm so sorry. But the full-on, no steering wheel, nothing. And one of the Tony, fact check it, please. One of the exciting things about this is there was an article like on Mashable or something where they were pointing out that these cars don't have windshield wipers, and people were freaking out.
Oh.
But wait, you don't need to see.
You don't need windshield wipers because you don't need to see out the front. Now, interestingly enough, there are small windshield wipers on all the sensors for the car.
You know what? That would bug me though. Like I would want windshield wipers
I want
because
to be aware.
I want to see.
Yeah, I know. If you just had torrential downpour on the front.
Well, otherwise, what are you doing? You're sitting there and like
in a pod.
Pod of shower.
Solitude.
Like especially on a nice, even if it's raining, it can be kind of scenic and cool. Like I want to see.
No, I get it. But I guess these don't. Tony, where was it?
Austin, Texas.
It's Austin,
Whoa.
Texas.
Oh, that's Texas. Does it rain there? I don't know.
Yeah, maybe
I mean, I guess that's a good place to start.
Yeah,
Sure.
You know,
and that's going to be again that
us.
Google car thing is going to be more like considered more of a mass transit type of alternative for now. But so then for a while there, I was like, maybe the Google cars can know to avoid a certain road if there's bad potholes. They don't want to get broken. But I think I'm going layers and layers out of this conversation. So I want to bring it back.
Yeah. So you can probably, with the Google car, people will probably get nervous, but, it would be able to like move around potholes in a reasonable way and not, ensure that your ride is smooth and comfortable. And perhaps, you can apply that to yourself. It'll when you get on your route, you may say like, "Hey, I want one that's kind of like pothole free," because I know there's a lot of roads back in Madison that are really, really bad with potholes. So
Our east side,
Milwaukee goes up and down here. There's some bad areas.
Yeah, there are. So perhaps your car is a little fragile. It's a little on the older side of being a car. You may want to go on smoother roads, not push your car too hard, even if it does mean going a different route.
Flip that little avoid pothole switch in your settings.
Just like
in your
avoiding
GPS
traffic,
app.
avoiding highways, avoid potholes.
Avoid highways, avoid tolls, avoid potholes, and avoid rabid dogs.
And go towards little farmers markets. Yeah.
So what's to stop us from charting each lane? Are you just thinking that
I
the
think
GPS
it's the fidelity
is
of the
not
GPS.
quite...
So
Okay.
most GPS, we know that like at its height, I think we're like under a foot now when you're doing like government stuff.
Sure.
A few years ago, everybody got really excited because it was around 3 feet. Commercial GPS right now is approximately 3 feet accurate for the masses. And part of that is that the government or the military has access to these satellites for the more specific stuff. And they want it that way, of course, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And also it's because just within the last 5 years, there's just been an explosion of people who've been using GPS because all the smartphones have it, that's just so much data. So essentially, just think of it this way: consumer GPS is usually approximately can get 3 feet accurate. So now I think that might be close enough to feel. I was going to say
we could probably. I mean, obviously, potholes towards the middle of the road might.
Yeah,
I think it would be enough that you could get.
Bit,
I think you could get some averages and deduce a lane.
Yeah,
exactly.
Because
that's
in
why I was
that
wondering it
case,
might be in the middle.
I mean, because we keep saying, and I think even the article says, find a different route.
Right.
But really, it could just warn you to stay out of a certain lane.
Yeah.
Because to me, that was
keep left, keep right.
Yeah, that was one of the things where I'm like, I don't know if I really want to like avoid an entire street unless it's all potholes.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So,
but I seem to see more potholes on smaller roads.
Oh, ironically,
less maintained roads.
Right,
yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So like it would be a different. It doesn't necessarily be a different route. It could just be like you avoid that one block, right? So you can like come up the street and be like, I'm going to just go around this block, and then you come right back.
I would hope that like this database could be used even just for cities then to to start recognizing
Right.
which roads, a little bit like SimCity, where it's like,
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
road needs more attention.
Yeah.
This one's like, we've got, reds, yellows, and greens as far as our road maintenance
I
is
was
going.
I was there with you. I was thinking about that too. Like, I wonder if this would make cities like more accountable, because if the people
Yes.
can see this, they
If
could then come
Google
out
can
and
see
be,
this,
hey,
yeah.
you're like ignoring this neighborhood, that neighborhood, whatever, which we all kind of know they do.
Oh yeah.
There's
yeah, that would
definite
be an
neighborhoods
interesting- Well, I mean,
you gotta-
that take better
in
care.
defense,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
got budgets. Like, you got to put the money where there's not always, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, I can imagine
Yeah.
a city has to prioritize which roads get the maintenance sometimes more than others. And then there might be like annual cycles or 5-year or 10-year cycles.
Exactly.
Well, which
But,
I,
you
which
know,
I
and
totally
then-
get, but there are also patterns that are based on socioeconomic status
That's what I was
and how
thinking.
good the
Yeah.
roads are.
Okay,
Yeah.
sure, fair enough.
And that's not necessarily about other non-economic or racial patterns. But the other
Yeah.
thing I was wondering with this, like even with around the block thing, so like just a couple days ago, I had to reroute because of an accident. And so it's not like I knew beforehand.
Yeah.
And so what happened is I'm on, I think it was like Brown Deer or something, but the only way around was to go through this tiny little neighborhood.
Yeah.
So here's my thought. If there's a pothole in this spot and the best way around is we're going to divert traffic from this major road through this tiny neighborhood, that could really piss
I would
people off.
I agree, but
Yeah.
I would also assume that would be balanced with Google knowing how many cars it's suggesting to do that with. For example, the Apple Maps, and I'm sure the Google Maps one does this too, but I know for sure that the Apple Maps app, the driving one specifically, they announced a year or so ago that we all know that there's kind of this national database of like, this road is congested right now. This road is not. Sometimes that's literally sensors in the road. Sometimes
Yeah.
it's cameras and other things that are deducing these speeds. But Apple said that they use that as a portion of their data, but they actually use people's iPhones as the main source of data. They literally know how fast every single one of their users is driving. Now they don't, and they do, and they keep
Right.
that, private, quote unquote, or they keep it aggregated or whatever, is what they say. And I choose to believe them for now. And it's not like the police are sitting there watching every single iPhone, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Right.
However, they admitted that they do use that data to actually know if to get these like heat maps on if roads are congested or not.
Sure,
So now
yeah,
if you take that with the Google Maps, you add it in with the potholes, and it knows maybe it shouldn't send too many people that way, and this
Yeah,
or
this
that.
was
I would hope that this all would
fragile.
work
Yeah.
together. See where I'm going with this?
If
Yeah, I
I
do.
do. But if I may sort of piggyback on both of your points, what if, say I own a business that relies heavily on people driving by?
Yes.
If I'm a gas station, I'm thinking like a fast food place. And because the thing is, if it's congested at a certain time and it directs people around there, in practice, I would have a critical mass of traffic.
Yes, right. I see what
Still.
you're saying. Yeah,
But
you'd be maxed out.
If 24 hours a day there is this quote unquote like impediment, there's something
pothole or whatever.
pothole, and it diverts traffic around there. So maybe that's potential customers.
The way that small businesses can go out of business when there's just actual construction and stuff like
Right.
that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, I was trying to think.
Well, then those businesses can pay a premium to Google
Right.
to guarantee 50% of the traffic still gets routed past them.
yeah.
Especially the people that are most likely to buy gas at that time of day based on the data they know from the Google Calendar and the temperature of their dog's
Wow.
body.
Yeah.
I'm just...
But no, I know.
No, but that's a legit concern. Actually,
Right.
I hadn't thought of it, but yeah, I've seen that happen where a business goes out of business because of traffic. That could be, and a lot of business is just because somebody passes by and they're like, "Oh, that's a good idea." They weren't planning on it.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, you have little shops that are foot traffic based,
Yeah.
but a lot of stuff out there is just driving by.
Well, I
There was
impulse eat all the time.
Impulse. There was a story, it was probably just a myth or whatever, just an example, but it was like 2 donut shops set up on the same road, and it's a good road, all the data looks good. One goes out of business, one stays in business, because the one that had the traffic going towards where most of the jobs were stayed in business, because in the morning people are getting their coffee and donuts, and the one that was just on the other side of the road who goes out of business because really the maximum people are actually going past in the evening, and it's just 40 feet away from the other one, or maybe 100, 200 feet away.
Wow,
That makes sense.
But it's really
Yeah.
important, that kind of stuff.
Why U-turn when there's one right there?
Exactly.
Yeah. Anyway, so I think we should wrap this up, but is there anything else you'd like to say about this V?
I have just read that it is various vibration sensors that would cross-check where these potholes are, and and indicating what roads are bumpy and accident prone. Whereas
Driving along, and you just start slapping your phone and its sensor, and you're just like,
Yeah.
screwing
Take
it
that,
up.
Google.
Pothole there.
Yeah.
But of course, we know that it'd be actually averaging that with probably thousands of pieces of data, so that wouldn't really be doing anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, like, oh boy,
What's with this guy's
guys,
car?
oh my gosh, 52nd Street has like just got like 8 new potholes. It's really just like a kid kicking the phone,
Yeah.
kid in the back seat kicking the phone.
Yeah.
Alrighty, well, Vee, if people want to tweet you and ask you about where your favorite pothole is in Milwaukee, where can they do that?
I want you all to know that my favorite pothole is on 21st Street. It's great.
There's some
21st.
rough ones. There's a pretty bad one a few blocks away from here that I hit from time to time.
Yeah,
Every
my
time,
neighborhood is
it's not like
pretty
it's like a chunk.
Yeah.
So you're hitting the crust of the other side of that pothole. It's not just
Wisconsin
like a weird
potholes are crazy. We
Yeah.
are in that sweet spot where it's really hot and really cold.
Well, that's
and
what it
things
is.
expand
Anything in
and
the
crack and
Midwest, they
explode.
usually get a lot of potholes because of
Yeah.
the ice going down in there, stretching it out. For, there's a lot of movement in the land
It's
in
crazy.
a climate where you have seasons.
Yeah.
It's totally fair.
Yeah.
I think I already said this on the show, but there's that company that did the silly putty potholes. Remember I mentioned that a few episodes
Yeah,
ago?
yeah.
Right.
We talked about plastic roads.
Could be a thing. It was in the Plastic Roads
Yeah.
episode.
Yep.
Very good.
So this will tide us over until we have
So they
plastic
can
roads.
they can tweet you where?
They can tweet me at bear_Annika.
Marvelous. Mr. Stiglich, if people want to talk to you about bee backpacks on Twitter, they can do that.
That's very specific. I am at Tony_Stig.
You're going to get a lot of tweets for that
I'm going
one.
to tweet you right
I
I'm
now.
going
bet
to
there
tweet
are
you
a
so
lot
many
of
buzzing things.
Very interested parties out there.
It's true. That was Tony at Tony Stiglich, right? It's
Tony
at Stig.
_Stig.
There it is. There it is.
Yes.
And Miss Krista-Lee, how you doing?
Good.
Kind of a quiet episode for you today. No, you contributed.
Whoa.
Apparently, David wasn't listening. I see how important I am. I am leaving. But
No, I just
After-
I know specifically that your story is the lead story for the next episode.
after I leave, you can tweet me at GamerAnthro.
Oh my god, at Raptor Paint is so unfair.
He is.
a
Oh my
jerk.
god! Everybody should block him.
What listeners don't know is Dave mentally grades us on every episode.
I keep a
And at the
spreadsheet,
end
right?
of the season, whoever has the lowest grade.
Yeah.
It's off the island.
Good.
Yep.
No,
Bye.
absolutely not. Absolutely not. Krista-Lee, thank you very much. And they can tweet you at, you said it already, but
Yes, I did. At GamerAnthro.
at GamerAnthro. We love it when people tweet the show at Technophiles Pod, or find us on iTunes, Stitcher, and Facebook by searching Technophiles, or they can go to our actual website, technophilespodcast.com, where they can check out show notes for this episode, as well as look at some of our other shows like Branching Dialogue, or the other show that we all four do, the Technophiles Newscast. And that's it. I think we'll get out of here. Until then, I'm David Geisler, and you can find me on Twitter at Raptor Paint.